Now we're in our finishing wash overlays. These are beautiful. So you can choose which kind of finishing grade, which colour grade, which filter you want to finish your image. If indeed you do, you might be like, no, don't want it. If you want to. You have Press Rose, Movie Night, Valentine, Plum Pudding. They start off quite warmy and pink. They come into the lovely kind of museum style fine art stains, down into the blues and the cools and the mattes. You have the name, and it also tells you a little bit about what it does. So for example, Press Violet is a pink violet warmth, Movie Night is a cool evening purple wash, Valentine is passionate burgundy tone, Plum Pudding is violet complementing. For example, if I hear Plum Pudding, just to show you, you're going to find the ones that you like the most. Let's zoom out a little bit here. So that was Plum Pudding. You can turn it on or off. You can slide the opacity. These are all professional grade finishes, and you're going to find the exact opacity that works for your image. How about we try something different, like Louvre is a fine art museum tone. You can see this is going to be completely different. All the way up, very, very strong. So we can pull this down and find that perfect kind of film finish. That one's Louvre. This one's Plum Pudding. They're all really, really different. Let's try something again, very, very different. Wednesdays is bluey kind of jewel tone greens and blues coming in. So you see that very intense if you slide it up. So you want to find your happy zone. So that one's Wednesday, Louvre, Plum Pudding. They're all very, very different, and you're going to find your favourites. Next up, we have some texture paints. There's so many actions in here. The texture paints are going to add texture to your background. If you don't want to add a texture overlay in, you want to add some texture into your image, add that kind of still life texture in. These do it all in Photoshop. You have downgrain, hewn hatch, dapple, dark rough, and watercolour grade. These are the classics. For example, hewn hatch, let's just play this one out. It's going to create a texture layer over your image, and you can use a hard black brush to paint it off your subject's skin. And you see there, we've got a texture. It's coming over our entire image. You see that? Off like a hatch texture. And you can just paint this off your subject's skin. I've even included an action here, which is click to select subject. You can click this this here. It's going to give you a subject selection that you can work on if you want to. All the things you kind of dream of when it comes to editing, they're all here. It's just finding them in the section. So I've tried to lay it out as intuitively as possible. So that was adding the hewn hatch texture there. You can play with the opacity. You can play with the blend mode as well if you want to make it any stronger. And that's going to add a really cool texture. You can also download texture overlays from the LSP Actions website. Generative background wildcards. These are just some fun. You can have a wild guard texture, for example. We've got wild guard, generative mid, and wild guard art gone mad. So if we go on art gone mad, this is going to create something different every time. You see how up here it's generating it for you. The kind of the beauty and the frustration of generative fill I find in Photoshop is you get something different every time, but that is what keeps everything really interesting. So I'm going to again click to select subject so I can just paint this off our subject's skin, and it's giving us a really funky text background. If you're shooting on a grey or a mid-tone, you're going to see the effects of this most strongly. Let's just paint this texture toning off the skin. You see that? It's done just a completely different look for our image. Really, really fun, really, really funky.